sponsored the varsity club. And so he's been with us for considerable time as well. And he's a local boy, Western Michigan. He went to school and played football at Muskegon High. And an honorable mention, All-American guard from Arizona State. He played for the Sun Devils. Gentlemen, nice to have you with us tonight.
Nice to be here.
What we'd like to do tonight first is take a look at one of the scenes from last week's game. There were some people who were a little bit critical and said that the Park made several more mistakes than they're used to seeing. And a good deal of the explanation, and maybe you gentlemen can agree or disagree with me, but I understand that it's pretty tough to keep the intensity level up after Forest Hill Central, after Lowell. Is that true?
It becomes very difficult, Fred, when you play a schedule like ours in the OK White, which is considered to be one of the better conferences in the state. They all are well-coached teams and a number of good athletes that we see during the year.
Okay. Now, before anyone gets the impression that the night was a dismal failure last Friday, the score was 26-7, so it appears that we did quite well, and there were a number of bright spots, and we'd like to take a look at them. After the kickoff, we went down from our 40-yard line to about their 28 on a series of dives, which are our bread and butter play, so to speak. At this point, Chris Nichols took a nice counter up about 15 yards. Oops. And Kennewa at that point got a personal foul, I believe, that took it half the distance to the goal. Quite unfortunate for them.
Number 22, Vander.
The ball is now first and goal on the 8-yard line. Now here's a patented Park play coming up.
Personal foul called against Kennewa Hills.
The option play. And a pretty shaky pitch, wasn't it? Oh no, that was Nichols' run. Russo's run. That's right, runs, yeah. And that was a pitch he almost dropped, wasn't it?
That was up the middle. The first one was an 8-yard dive.
Oh yeah. Now is this the bad snap on the extra point?
Yeah, we had a little difficulty getting our snaps in this week. And
this happens to be Steven that is holding the kick here, incidentally. Bad snap, and what happened, Steve?
Well, it was kind of a bad snap. I've handled worse, but I had a real bad time handling in the game Friday. And I turned around and I stood up, and I'm not known for my throwing ability, and I just kind of threw it as fast as I could, trying to hit Jason Baker.
Oh, you were trying to hit Baker?
Yeah, but I was, I'm not very consistent with my passing, so I couldn't get him.
Well, Steve, I got to ask this question. I'm sure people are going. Does your dad ever stick his nose in your football business?
No, not really.
Doesn't bother you much?
No, sometimes he reminds me of basic fundamentals that all coaches, come up and tell me about, but otherwise he, he works with the linemen. He doesn't really work with the linebackers at all, so he doesn't really get to work with me a whole lot. And when on offense, split end, I do get under his wing a little bit there because that's part of the line. So he gets me in there, but otherwise he doesn't really bother me at all about football or anything.
Are you tempted to sometimes, Dave?
No, Fred, the reason I'm not is because I know our philosophy at Wyoming Park. I know the other coaches that I've worked with for years. I know what their responsibilities are, and I think we all respect that. If we see something that's going wrong in an area that we're not coaching, we'll mention it to the other coaches that, we have a little flaw here. We don't know if you saw that. You might be aware of it. You may say something to the athlete, but we don't meddle too much.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea not to trump on toes. Okay, let's take a look again at the next clip. Another bright spot, Lampaney's interception. Unfortunately, the interception, Kennewa's ball here, and he threw a sky ball, went straight up in the air, and Bob Lampani intercepted it. Here he's running around the end. He carried it down to their 30, and we had an illegal block on that one, I think. That didn't it?
The illegal block was called for blocking below the waist, Fred, which is, you know, a new rule recently, and it's a good one. It's for the protection of the athletes.
So we ended back 45 then.
I might add something as we view the game here. If the viewers would notice how far off the ball Kennel was playing, which really makes our game a lot easier. We're known for coming off the ball. And when you play that far back on us, it just gives us an edge to the game.
And they did that the entire game? They played way off the ball?
Pretty much, pretty much.
Okay, let's take a look at a Bardwell run, another high spot. I don't know if he was supposed to do this, but it was an option play to the left.
Yeah.
That was a plain play, huh?
Yeah, that's the option where he's supposed to read the end, and the end went out to take the pitch back, so his job is to turn upfield, and he did a good job running, getting quite a few yards.
Yeah, I think he picked up about 30 yards on that. There was a fumble, though. What happened? Did they call it dead?
Yeah, I guess he hit the ground already when he tackled, so it wasn't...
You recovered that fumble, too, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, it happened to be, I was on the left side, or the right side, and I was just running down. And it's kind of, you don't know what's going on because it's behind you, and you just kind of look at the defensive player to tell what's going on. And all of a sudden I noticed that the ball carrier must be coming on my back, so I went, and I didn't get a real good block on anybody, but all of a sudden I saw the ball squirt out, so I just jumped on it, to be safe.
Okay, good. Let's take a look at a Bardwell touchdown, and then we're going to let Dick get his licks in on the lineman here. This is on the, I believe, about the 1 yard line, and you'll notice Ray took it right in behind his center. Right behind the lineman, huh?
Well, you always have to be proud of the kids up front. There's not a lot of glory in it, but there's a lot of personal satisfaction. And when we started this season, we were not known to have a good offensive line. In fact, very unexperienced, or I should say inexperienced. But through the double sessions, these kids really started to gel together, and they've got a lot of confidence in themselves, and they don't get enough of it. They enjoy it.
Okay. On that last play you saw there, the extra point was run in by Russo. We had missed the first kick, wasn't that the case? So that Russo took it in for the extra point. At this point in the game, of course, it was 14-0. Let me get back to Dick here a minute. Dick, you just mentioned that the linemen don't get a lot of recognition for what they do. And it's obvious that without the line, there wouldn't have been a touchdown in that case. They say Bardwell, I think maybe he didn't, probably Kennel was expecting Russo right and Nichols left all night long, and then Bardwell came up the middle behind your lineman. There's always, again, been a rumor around that linemen really don't have to be as smart as the backs and the receivers. They just go out there and bang into folks. Is that true?
No, I don't think so much today as it might have been in the past. Our offense is very difficult. We automatic at the line. Not only do they have to worry about the new assignment, they have to worry about where people are located at the time. Then they have to get off on the ball. They're like the quarterbacks in our offense. They make reads on the move. If your lineman does this, then they have to do that. So it becomes very difficult. So I think that as far as intelligence is concerned, I think that time has changed. I think they have to be very intelligent to play offense at Wyoming Park.
I would think so, yeah, with the way we run our offense. Okay. Let's roll them again and see something that never happens at Wyoming Park. In this series, we're only going to show a couple of the plays here. Now, this was a broken pass play. Ray saw an opening, Bardwell, and took off running for about 15 yards. If it had happened the way it should have, he should have thrown the ball. As it was, in this series of downs, there were 6 out of 7 possible plays that were pass plays. Here we see Ray dropping back and throwing to Jason Gullidge, who caught it. A little out pattern there, he took off and got crunched. And on the next play, he ran another play to the other side, basically the same pattern to the left side. And I believe he went out of bounds there, didn't you, Steve?
Yeah,
I think he did.
for about 12-yard gain.
Yeah, about 12-yard gain on that one. Okay, anyway, let's take a look at the next clip. We had stalled down there on their 23, and we had some quick thinking by Steve Meekoff, who was about to kick a field goal, but doesn't. He picked the ball up and ran with it, and then decided he'd better throw it.
Yeah.
Who was he throwing it to? You?
No, it wasn't going to me. Again, it was another bad snap, and it wasn't really a bad snap, but it was a really bad hold by my part. And I went to pick it up, and I couldn't get it, so Steve picked it up, and we're both known to not have good arms. Like in practice, we get teased about it because he doesn't have a good arm, and I don't have a good arm. But he rolled around to the right, and I think he saw Trosette out there, and he was trying to wing it out there, and all his passes are always way too high, and they loft up about 30 yards and only go about 5. So he better stick to kicking.
Yeah. Okay, incidentally, Steve has a terrific foot, and it kind of got waylaid Friday night, I would say. Okay, Steve, we got to ask you a couple of questions for folks out there and for our own satisfaction. It seems that if we have any guys that quit, they generally do it in the first couple of weeks of practice during August. Why would you say?
Boy, first couple weeks of practice is the toughest, I'd say.
It is tough.
That's when we go, double sessions in the morning and in the afternoon, and it's 90 degrees out, sunny. So, and that's really, you do a lot of running and conditioning. And if we had to spend a lot of time, and where most of the people are at the beach or, out, just bumming around, we got to be in pads, bumping heads in the sun. So a lot of people that don't run before practice, they go in, and it's really hard on them, so they decide it's quit, it's not for them.
Mm-hmm. Dick, you're the conditioning coach. Can you speak to that?
Well, I think Stephen alluded to some of the problems. Preconditioning is a fact that they're not taking the time to do some running. We have an off-season weight program that we get involved in, but also the running is a very important factor. And many of these athletes wait until the last minute to do something, and of course sometimes it's too late. Everything becomes much more difficult when they're trying to get ready. So it becomes a mental thing too, from the lack of conditioning prior to the season.
Okay, Steve, let me throw one more at you in that respect. At the other end of the scale, there are those kids, and of course I've been there 17 years, who I see come out every practice and take the abuse. They get beat on and hammered on and never play. What makes them tick, do you know?
Oh boy, that would be tough to come out there. I did that my sophomore year. I went out there, put in my due, so to speak. Don't get on the field come Friday night. But if you're determined and disciplined, you're going to go through, and you're going to know your time comes when you become a junior and a senior. And a lot of it at Wyoming Park is kind of glory because we've had such a good reputation in the past on winning, and we have a lot of fans in the stands. So it's nice to go out there and play with, the stands packed and the band's playing. But it's just, I guess, reputation of being on the Wyoming Park football team. Some kids come out and just to, be on it.
They want the jersey.
Yeah, they want the jersey, exactly. They want to go to McDonald's come Friday night, and say, hey, look, we're number 2 in the state or something.
Well, I guess they pay their dues the hard way.
Yeah, most of them. It's not like they get a free ride. If they don't, there's not a lot of kids on our team. Actually, there's none that just miss practice every once in a while. Everybody on our team pretty much shows up to practice, and they put in their time, so they pretty much deserve the jersey.
Okay, let's, by way of introduction to the next clip, this was one of the less bright spots in the game. At this point, Wyoming had thrown an interception. Kennewick couldn't capitalize on it, and we took their punt and threw another interception, and then we got our comeuppance. Let's take a look at it. We're on they're on their 33-yard line here, and they throw a pass, just a sky ball out there, intercepted by Tommy Brown, and there he goes, and slipped and fell. And that one closed out the half. Okay, Dick, another question for you here. Now, Jessica's been a coach's wife for years, and I'm sure we're going to be talking to some mommies out there. And I don't know about Jessica, but my wife and my son played, and the other mothers I talked to are always afraid the kid's going to get hurt. Is it any different with a coach's wife?
No, Fred, I don't think it is, but I think you put that out of your mind. I think when you have a lot of respect for the coaching staff and their ability to teach the proper fundamentals and techniques involved in football, I don't think you have to worry about that too much. Yes, there's always a possibility that someone can get hurt. Stephen, through all the years that he's played football, he's had a few occasions where he's gone down, where being his father on the sideline as well as a coach has made me very nervous. But I have a lot of faith in the techniques and fundamentals that are coached at Wyoming Park by the coaching staff.
Just by way of that, is there, could you describe for us what's done to prevent the injuries, and then if one should occur, what would be done for it?
First of all, Fred, we have an out-of-season weight program and an in-season weight program. We have a great conditioning program. Those are two factors right there that we have to take into consideration of preventing injuries. It doesn't always work. There's always exceptions to the rule. But I think you'll find out that overall, those two items right there are a good preventative method of preventing injuries.
Is there some way, special ways, are there some special ways that should an injury occur, do you have personnel that will take care of it right there?
Well, we have a student trainer. The varsity club used to send a student trainer to school. Now our athletic department sends the student trainer to Grand Valley, I believe it is. And we have a fine gentleman who played for us, Bob Prisby, who is a certified physical therapist and also a certified athletic trainer who attends all of our games, and he does just a fantastic job. Plus we have some sort of MD. We used to have interns, or I believe it's interns, but we usually have medical people.
So the kids are well cared for. I'm sure that would be a concern for somebody that, is going to want to send their kid to the park to play ball. They don't want to know that he's going to be laying out in the back weeds. Well,
definitely. If anybody comes off the field injured, right away he's referred to Bob Prisby, who's our trainer, so to speak, again, and he checks him out. If he feels there's going to be any danger whatsoever to the athlete, he will refer back to the coaches. Please don't play so-and-so. His injury is detrimental to his health. We feel that it's best that he doesn't play. And, of course, then he doesn't play.
Okay. Before we get into the next little piece of film here, this will be in the second half. And, again, the defense was one of the bright spots in our game. This particular clip, if we could see it a minute, shows why they were held to negative yardage throughout the first half. Keep an eye on Rick Ingalls here at the right defensive end, and you'll see him throw the quarterback for an 11-yard loss. And defense has always been a bright spot, isn't it? Yeah. Stephen's a linebacker. Steve's got to talk to that. He's a linebacker.
Yeah, well, we pride ourselves on the defense, especially this year. We had a lot of returning starters come back from last year's team, which is pretty good. And we were told that we weren't supposed to be a good offensive team, but we've proved that we can be. But defense is the main thing in Wyoming Park. You know,
Kids love it, huh?
Rick Ingalls, Chad Calvert, Steve Meekoff, Doug Amlott, Chris Lee, you know, in the perimeter, and Chris Nichols and I at the linebackers. We do a pretty good job, and we work together as a union. We play as a team, and we lose as a team.
Pride.
Right, yeah, and it's like the points scored on our defense. It's not, well, there's so-and-so points scored against the first-string defense and then so-and-so against the second. It's total. It's like when they scored the touchdown, Kendall Hill scored the touchdown in the second half against us. It was a team defense. The starters on the bench didn't say, hey, that's the second string. What should we worry about? You know, it's a team concept, and the coaches, you know, stress that to us.
We might add, Fred, that the saying goes, defense wins ball games and offense brings people in to see the game.
Very familiar saying.
Isn't that the truth? Yeah. Anyway, I might mention in terms of Stephen's point of view that in the 4 years I've seen him at Wyoming Park, I've watched him play quarterback, tight end, split end, and linebacker. And you seem to have settled in at linebacker, huh? Any
Yeah.
special reason you like that hitting, or what?
Well, yeah, linebacker is my favorite position out of all of them, I suppose. I've played that more regularly than, you know, split end or quarterback. But I don't know if well, the hitting, yeah, I like to hit some people. I'm not a violent person, you know, on the street, but when you have my pads on, I get up there, and it feels good. It's just a different feeling to knock someone down like that.
Okay. Back to another of the highlights. We've got to take a look here at, well, they took a bad punt on our 33. Bob got off a bad punt. That was another one of our dark spots. It was their 4th and 7 from our 19-yard line, and our man Stephen made it again. We had to see this one. Let's take a look at it. Okay, they're going to throw the ball.
Okay, he rolls out to the left. He's left-handed quarterback, and there's a tight end dragging across the middle, and I just happened to get in front of him, and he threw it right to me. I thought he was throwing it to me, and I wish I could run with the ball afterwards. I'm not too experienced at that. So when I get the ball, like when I intercepted, it's like I'm scared. I don't know what to do with it.
Now here's Russo's run. He went right up the middle, and this was probably the most spectacular play of the game when Matt Russo ran 75 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah, Matt's got a lot of speed. Once he gets in the open, I don't think anybody's going to catch him.
I don't think anybody expected him to go right up the middle and
No, he's...
take off like
Yeah,
that.
Chris Nichols is, like, you know, the workhorse up the middle more than Russo. Matt's around the end type, but he can run up the middle. You know, he can make people miss. And like, you know, like that's just showed, once he gets in the open, no one's going to catch him.
Well, it looks like time is getting to be a premium here. So we ought to tell the folks what they've got coming up this week, huh? If Forest Hill Central was big and Lowell was big, what is East Grand Rapids?
Bigger.
It wouldn't matter if we were both 0-7 at this point, would it?
I think, you know, when these two clubs meet, they're well-coached teams. There's definitely no lack of enthusiasm on the part of East Grand Rapids and Wyoming Park. They're looking forward to us. We happen to see it on TV this Saturday, and we're looking forward to them. I think you're going to find out that our kids rise to the occasion. When we have a tough ball game, they're ready to play.
Yeah, we like playing East Grand Rapids. It's like, it doesn't matter what happened the last 2 years or, you know, whatever. It's no matter what year it is.
Every year is a
last
win.
year. You get up and it's like East Grand Rapids. It's almost the game of the year, you know. You know that you've beaten a pretty good team. You know you're pretty good if you beat East Grand Rapids because they have a fine football program. So we had a good practice today, and we're on our way to a good one this week, and hopefully we'll be ready come Friday.
You might almost say that it's the George and Jack show, right? It seems to be that in the media every year.
Yeah.
It's funny, the kids seem to be the ones out there getting their heads smacked. Anyway, let's take a look at one more clip here. One more touchdown, another bright spot. In this case, it was a 2nd and 2, and Nichols took it for 20 yards, and then Russo took it in. Let's watch another bright spot. he goes.
Number 30, Chris Nichols, the ball carrier, stopped there by number 12, Mark Thompson.
After this.
The third quarter stats show that one.
Okay, this should be Matt taking it in.
Yeah, this is an option left again. Brad Stickler's in that quarterback, and he gets kind of a bad pitch out, but Matt picks it up, and with his speed, he makes a nice move there.
That's it. Nice move.
He set up,
That's it.
Jason Gulch and I were out there blocking our man, and he put a move on the inside and just sealed us for the block, and we were just able to seal him out for Matt and get to the end zone.
Okay, looks like our time is up. And gentlemen, it's been great having you with us tonight.
We've enjoyed it.
It's been fun.
And we hope that you people out there come watch the park at East. You'll see a great game no matter who wins it. But we will. Welcome to another edition of Behind the Gridiron. I'm Fred Vander, Jagt from Wyoming Park High. And as you probably are aware, the Park didn't win Friday night. I don't think you'll find that there were any heads down at practice today. And there shouldn't be when you win or lose your third game in 2 years. And one of those to a state champion, there is no reason to have one's head down. East was well prepared. They were well coached, as they always are, and that happened to be the winning difference. Tonight we'll take a look at a few of the things that went right and a few that may have gone wrong. We'll have Coach Jack Verdine, Head Coach Jack Verdine, in for a scouting report on another big game coming up Saturday with West Catholic. And we'll pick the brains again of a couple of guests that you see with me tonight. Last week was unique. We had a father and son coach-player combination. And the park is different, of course, so we did it again. On my far left here, we have Rick Ingalls. Rick is a senior football player, both at defensive end and tight end. He played at Rover, or what you may call an outside linebacker. And he plays baseball in the spring and uses his off season for weightlifting and running. The young man to my left here, of course, is real familiar to me. He is Ron Ingalls. He teaches right across the hall from me. He's a social studies teacher. He's been coaching for some 25 years. He happens to coach the defensive backfield, what he'll refer to as the perimeter. He's our defensive coordinator, runs the whole show on defense. The head baseball coach, and an extremely successful one. He's won a state championship. He was chosen one of 4 in the United States to coach a junior Olympics team. Spent a couple of years coaching track. So he's been around the sport some time. He was a quarterback right here in Kellogg'sville at junior college, at Augustana College, so he knows it's football. He officiates basketball, and his daughter Sarah, a junior at Wyoming Park, was a cheerleader and is now into basketball. Of course, there's his delightful wife Sally, who works at Michigan.